What do we got here? Long Beach. I went to Long Beach State. How about that? I didn't say I graduated, but I definitely went. We were the 49ers, I thought, the whole time I was there. And then I found out that apparently our baseball team had a different mascot. And I found out the hard way. I was in a bar in Europe and somebody's like, you went to Long Beach State? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, Dirtbag. And I say, fuck you. And it turns out that was the name of our baseball team, the Dirtbags. Lima, Peru. Oh, look at that, Bar Gashen from Israel. All right, man. I can walk to it from my house. There you go. Well, that's the one. Oh, shit. Looks like the army's moving on the... Well, I guess they're not going to do anything. I'm up here at the castle, at the Prague Castle, which ordinarily would be packed with throngs and throngs of tourists. But it's nice and mellow right now. There's nobody up here but a bunch of drunk locals. They just opened up a couple of the little beer gardens for the locals. But these guys cheekily did not open the bathrooms. So watch where you step when you're up here in Prague 1 checking out the castle during the quarantine. That's all gonna be very good. Sunny Arizona. Yeah, it's freezing here. I can't believe we're this close to summer. And we had snow this week. Oh yeah, I've been there. Okay. Yeah, Prague is beautiful. I'll actually flip it around so you can see. This is such an amazing view. Where's my little flippy floppy? There it is. Look at that. Prague, discovered in the late 1970s. Here we go. Some of these buildings date back to the early 1980s. And up there, Petrin Tower, 1/5 scale model of the Eiffel Tower. It actually stands over the city of Prague, as high as the Eiffel Tower stands over Paris, but it's just a lot smaller. It was cheaper to put it on a hill because dirt's free, you know, like, it seems cheaper. You know, like I wear a lot of black instead of joining a gym. Makes sense. Anyway, what do we got here? This is off in the distance. Oh shoot, I can zoom. There's our 216-meter TV tower built by the communists in the late 1980s to block out funk and all kinds of cool music. This is another building we're actually going to be at today. This is the St Nix Cathedral. It's a dome that the KGB used to hang out in during communist times, during the Cold War, to spy on the American embassy. It's probably true, right? I mean, I said it. I'm not just going to I don't just make shit up. Anyway, so as we get closer and closer to 7 p.m. Oh, you can actually see down here as well. This is the German embassy. Very sneaky. There they are. It's actually the biggest embassy in the country, which makes sense. It's just a big, beautiful palace. All right. Back to my face and that pile of trash behind me. All right. So, yeah, what time is it? Did they already shut down the castle? I was kind of hoping we could snoop over there. We don't have like the same thing, like what are they called, the beefeaters? Like these, those palace guards that they have in London, where you can just kind of go up and make faces and they're not supposed to. These guys, they're allowed to hit you. These guys, they look like they're not allowed to mess with you, but they'll definitely mess with you. I don't have an actual clock, 6:35. I should probably have like 3-4 minutes. But what do we got here? Raza Sud, fantastic J-chip. Oh man, it's cold in us. This is gonna be good. We're gonna walk around. We're gonna walk down Nerudova. This is like a main street, or it would be a main street if the borders were open and we actually had people here. But oddly enough, because it was such a centrally located place, it's just full of hotels and restaurants for people that were staying in those hotels. And without people here, the whole street is dead. It's bizarre. So it's kind of a nice place to check out this time. And it won't be again. It's like just like last night when I popped up on the Charles Bridge to see what it looks like when it's completely empty. It'll never happen again. Hopefully it'll never happen again. So this is kind of an exciting time to take advantage of. Sorry, I was setting up my adapter onto this thing here. Oh, bear with me. All right. So I think we're getting closer to the time when we can actually depart. There's only so much you can do in this lovely little spot. I mean, behind me here is a statue of good King Wenceslas from the Christmas tunes. I'm Jewish. I have no idea what he was famous for. I'm sure he just was, hey, what's up, dude? How you going, man? Prague is a village. It's just, there's just too many people that everybody knows. But yeah, and let me take a look here. Good King Wenceslas. This is from what, 1,000 years ago? Here we go. Here we go. Let's see what we got. All right. There he is. La 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 la. See, I know that much. Yeah, there's a big square on the other side of the city named after him, Wenceslas Square. He was king. He was killed by his brother. And I think from here we don't really need any more information than that. And then right next to it is a Starbucks. So, boom. That's always good to know. Do you guys know what time it is? 7. Is it 7 exact? All right. Let's put some lipstick on this pig. My name is Isaac Ham. I come from a small Mexican village called Los Angeles, California. But I moved here 20 years ago almost. Yeah, Christmas 2000 because I hate earthquakes. And now I can't go home because of what I did to those squirrels. No, this is a lovely, lovely town that I came to make my home. I met my wife and I have 2 daughters, and they all live in my house, and I should probably learn their names. This being an election year, they're all wonderful people. I came out here back in 19 flippity flip, back before anybody really spoke Czech or spoke English. So I kind of had to learn Czech. So I'm like the last generation of people that moved here that had to learn it. As we go through the city and we point to things, I'll explain kind of how I came to be guiding a live stream tour for you guys. I mean, the real long and short of it is I love doing it. And I have done it for so long that I'm no longer good at it. And unless I can swear and be irreverent and make jokes, yeah? I have a weird feeling, relationship with actual real tours, yeah? This is just a warning to anybody who's on here who thinks that this is gonna be a historical walking tour. It is absolutely not. I'm gonna walk around, I'm gonna point to some shit, I'm gonna say some stuff, and maybe it's true, and maybe it's a joke, and maybe if, you know, this doesn't seem like it's right up your alley, maybe you find something else to do for the next 45 minutes. But I still think it'll be a hoot. I think there's a lot of different ways that we can kind of interact, because I actually do see this feed along the side here that'll show any comments that you guys make. You can tell me if you think something is funny. You can tell me if you think something is cheesy. Yeah, I don't mind. You can even give me on a scale of 1 to 10. You can just write the number 10 if something's on fire. You can write a 1 if you think it was crap. Anything lower than that, I imagine, you know, if you're just firing off 1s at me, I think maybe you should find something else to do. The internet is a massive, massive place. Yeah? So, yeah, I recognize that I'm not for everybody. I know that there's lots of different things you can do with your time, but I think this would be an entertaining way to spend the next 45 minutes. At least you get to see Prague. The castle, it's a big palace. It's the largest and oldest medieval castle on this hill. It's actually the largest and oldest medieval castle still in use today in Europe, but most people just recognize the church that's inside of it because it's this big, scary, Gothic thing that took half a millennium to make. Here we go. There's a funky street performer out here. You always gotta have money for street performers. You gotta do it. Here we go. Oof. Let's see here. I could die. Right on, brother. There you go. Always gotta throw some cash at a performer. You know, as opposed to somebody who's just standing out there with a hat, begging for stuff. You got some guy out here playing the fiddle. You got to throw him some beans. Got to take care of him. So, heading on down here, we're down to this street in Narrowest, which on my way up a little while ago, I noticed that there's some little tiny. Here we go. There are some little tiny dive bars that started to pop up on this street. So, as we walk, I'll try to keep my voice down because the last thing I need to do is incite the attention of some local drunks. Try to keep it. How come I can't see what's going on the screen here? Let's getting dark. Here we go. Start on Facebook. Right on. Oh, you want to hear me speak Czech? Yeah, I'll teach you some Czech. Well, good evening, which is probably all I'm going to bop out here. Is this Scotty home bar still there? Well, we'll find out soon enough. But the a lot of the bars have been shut down. God, these guys look so, what's the word? Professorial. Some of these guys are dressed up like their tweed jackets and suspenders, and they're like their pipes and glasses and stuff. So I don't think these are the guys that'll mess with me. But good evening in Czech is dobrý večer, and it's always a great way to start any exchange with a stranger in this country. And they do it in such a sing-songy way, you can kind of get away with it. It's kind of a nice dobrý večer. There you go. It's like one of those. He's not going to give it back. They look judgy because the technology. That's fun. This is a house I wanted to show you. This is where Neruda actually starts. It's at the House of the Two Sons. This was two homes. You can actually see it from the rooftops that were conjoined into one for the Neruda family. And now a lot of the buildings on this street, sorry, this whole street is kind of dedicated to them. We're coming back to me. Now, the weird thing about the addresses on this street is they predate numbers. So a lot of the houses, and actually it probably predates literacy in general. I think the idea is if you don't know if you can't read and you can't read numbers, then at least you can spot a symbol, right? So this house here, I'm not even kidding, is the House of the Green Lobster, which is ridiculous because this country doesn't have lobsters, but there it is. I think it's a crayfish. It's got to be just a crayfish, and they made it big so you could find it. This is the House of the Red Lion. I mean, come on. But they keep the name even hundreds of years later because anything that was here up until 1550 is gone. There was a fire, I think, 1541, there was a massive fire and it burned down everything on this side of the river. And they pushed that into the river, effectively making an island, which we'll be on later on. And everything else was replaced. And on this street here we go. A lot of these places are from right after that time. So basically 1600s into 1700. A lot of palaces, Renaissance style graffiti, Renaissance style architecture. Like this is Mozart's house. Apparently they're still claiming this is where Mozart hung out. This was his big claim to fame. Or their claim to fame is that Mozart lived here. Mozart also famously said that Prague was his favorite place to play, which, I mean, what performer doesn't say that? Anyway, this is, oh yeah, coming down on fire. Ring that bell. Chopped out wood. All right, buddy. Here's another address, at the Golden Horseshoe. Yeah. Actually, this is kind of a perfect place for foreigners because you just read the symbols. You don't have to read Czech. It's a nice little thing. But yeah, moving right along with our lives. And here we go. Any questions down here? Scotty home bar? I swear, honestly, Scotty's stairs, right? Scotty stairs. I'm thinking there's a lot of bars that went under. That's something like somebody said 60% of the restaurants and bars in this country have gone under since the start of the plague, which is, we actually, I think our official quarantine is supposed to end May 10th. So hopefully by next week, things should get better. Okay, moving down here. Laundry bar. Seriously? Regular bars are out of business and there's a laundry bar that's still in business? This is my policy about bars. Any place can be a bar because the difference between a bar and a room is basically lights and sound. Yeah, you make it a little bit darker, you make it a little bit louder, you can turn any room into a bar. But a laundry bar, sticking feathers up your ass doesn't make you a chicken. All right. Here we go. Reza Sayadin. Here we go. Thanks for finding what? I'm trying to figure this out here. All right, now where are we? This is the Italian embassy. Thank you, Eric. Adolfo Mensa. There you go. This is the Italian embassy. I've been in here before, but now I know how to make my own pizza. So, also it turns out they deliver, so I don't really go in here anymore. But This is actually formerly a palace. It's turned into an Italian embassy. Jesus, this is how slow it is in town. I'm literally walking down the middle of a main street, and I haven't seen one car come past me yet. This is the Romanian embassy. I've been in there. Looks like the waiting room in Beetlejuice. Here we go. Scotty Home Bar. I don't know why I keep hearing this is mentioning. I don't even know what that is. I mean, I know where there's stairs. There's stairs here. There's a lot of bars in this neighborhood. Here's Santini. He's the architect that designed all the palaces on this street, actually. And right next door, this place here with the three fiddles. Utri Hosli Czech. It means at the House of the Three Fiddles. This was 3 generations of violin makers that lived in that house. So that's the permanent address of that house. And then in a moment here, we'll be done with this street, heading into some flat ground finally. Snoop around, go see some weird art. Here we go. All right, let me see if I can flip this around on my face. Here we go. Yeah. That's the nice thing about this side of town is famously really quiet. I mean, like I said, there's a couple little dive bars popping up, but usually after 10 o'clock at night, it's really dead. There's a couple of there's a bar that I like going to here called Blue Light, and their sort of slogan is it's always darkest right next to the candle, meaning that, you know, it's right in the main drag where you would assume there'd be a million tourists, but because they're so kind of in plain sight, people just walk right by. No one assumes that there's going to be this amazing little dive bar here, and it's beautiful. You'd be surprised how many celebrities you can actually meet in there. Czech celebrities. Everybody just calm down, like the economic advisor to the president. Those kinds of people that I think are celebrities. Anyway, now we are in front of the Jesus. Here we go. How come I can't see the screen? Here we go. This is the St Nix Cathedral up there, and one of these strange art installations that I was mentioning earlier in the front of this place is these blue statues that are kind of lining this parking lot. These are all actually, they're dedicated they're all dedicated to the 27 Protestant leaders who were beheaded in the 1640s because of the Austrian Empire and whatever the Catholic Church, the Holy Roman Empire. Anyway, so these guys were memorialized in like 1993 by a local Czech sculptor by making these child-sized statues, each one with their mouth gaping open, I believe being used as a cigarette butt. Yeah, and right at kind of about crotch level, this is where they put these heads. And nice. Here we go. And it's right across from a church, so you know they're safe. That's good. Anyway, we see what kind of cars we've got out here. Some sick whips out here. This is where they're going to shoot Fast and the Furious 10. It's the slow and the curious. Here we go. The Nix Cathedral was in Madison Square Garden. Ayo! Ring the bell. Nikki Okroyd, zing from across the pond. Here we go. All right. What's up, girl? There you go. Like getting the guy getting fucking ripped in half by people walking by. Any kind of a comment I can get from the slow and the curious. All right, here we go. Let me turn this right back around. So, in a moment, we're going to cross Malostranski Náměstí. This is the little quarter square. And for a moment, we're going to kind of have to cross through an area where there are more and more, let's say, there's a higher incidence of people who were out drinking. It's Thursday night, and in Czech, they say Čtvrtek je malý pátek. Thursday is small Friday. So people will already be getting loose. There's no chance of violence in this country. It's kind of a fun fact about this place is I've never seen a fight in 20 years of being here. I've never seen two Czech people hit each other. It's an amazing part of their history and culture is that they were never really, it was never really celebrated, hitting a man or anything like that. Even like when the country was doing very well during the First Republic in between World War I and World War II. From 1918 till 1938, this place was like Switzerland. You know, they spoke 3 languages and they invested in the arts and they built things that people wanted to buy and invest in. And I mean, if you had something that said made in Czechoslovakia from that time, you're like, oh my God, you know this is good. And Czechs are very, very proud of it. Czechoslovakians are very, very proud of that time period. But the one thing they didn't invest in is their military, which kind of made them, in a way, sitting ducks for World War II. And, but I mean, they elected philosopher leaders as they were educators and things. They were, the people that were in charge of the country were academics, and they kind of created this utopian kind of society from that time. And again, from that, you kind of have these people that are just, they're like agrarian, they're college-educated farmers. It's amazing. There you go, see the St Nix Cathedral behind me. And part of, with that comes kind of this kind of pacifist mentality. So the only time you ever see a club that needs, oh, sorry, which 3 languages did they speak? Well, I mean, I'm saying it's not like Holland where it's like, you know, everybody speaks the same 3 or 4. Literally, it was, everybody spoke their own language. There was a Czech and Slovak. And then, you know, the idea is just to get through school, you'd need to be able to speak German and French and English. I mean, and that's a minimum. I mean, I've met people from that generation in this country where they'll just keep asking until they get to a country that, a language that you have in common. They're brilliant. And like I'll see older people, they'll just walk up and they're like, "Говорите по-русски? Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Hablan español?" "Oh, perfecto. Podemos continuar en español si quiere." Or they'll, whatever, they're like, "Oh, yes, I speak English because I lived in a refugee camp for 5 minutes. It's amazing." And yeah. So, yeah, you're in Holland? Oh, yeah, there you go. Well, yeah, Holland is kind of famous with their education, but there is a tie between the Czechs and the Dutch, with especially with, there's a guy named Jan Amos Kamensky, or Comenius, who is on the 200 crown note, and the note is actually orange because he's buried in Holland. He's a Czech that was kicked out in the 1600s and moved to Holland and kind of stepped everything up. So, what do we got here? Somebody put Czechoslovakia. What language did they speak in Czech? Oh yeah, it was the same guy. All right, moving right along. Where was I? Oh yeah, so never seen a fight. I have like been to places where there's a bouncer, but the bouncers are for foreigners. The bouncers are for, you know, guys like me that come from countries that might be a little too punchy. And I was in a weird skirmish one time where I was driving, and this other car cut me off, and I saw him open his door, so I opened mine, and I'm 6'4". I'm like, okay, I'm a big guy, you know, but he doesn't have to know that I bruise like a peach, and I have 0 fighting skills, and but at least I'm a big guy, maybe I'll scare him. So I jump out, and the guy picks up a rock. And I said, "Are you going to throw a rock at me?" And he goes, "No." I go, "You going to throw a rock at my car?" He says, "No." I said, "What's going on?" And he says, "You honked at me." And I said, "Yeah, because you didn't signal." He says, "Yes, I did." He says, "Maybe it's broken." So we checked, and it wasn't. And then we stood there in silence for like 30 seconds. And then I said, "I'm a really nice guy." And he goes, "So am I." And then we got in our cars and drove away. They're the nicest people, and they never fight. So the worst thing is going to happen if I walk past the bar is somebody will yell something stupid. Yeah? That's just a preview as I walk past these bars. So officially, the bars are supposed to be closed out here, but also officially, it's not a fascist state. So people are the cops are very, very chill. You don't see people wearing masks, even though I think we're supposed to be wearing them still. It's kind of situation. But yeah. It's just people sitting in public. Even look at this over here. It's just an alleyway full of people drinking. Because you're not allowed to be inside the bar. And it just kind of begs the question, where are these people peeing? I don't think I've wanted a beer so much in my whole life. Sweet, we made it through there without incident. But now I feel it might be starting to rain. All right. Sweet. Getting closer. It's a quieter little area. This wall, this giant white wall on the other side there, I don't know exactly how many meters tall it is, but I know it was designed to be 1 meter higher than peacocks can fly. Apparently, peacocks are a very common gift from India to any country that has a castle or a monarchy. So they got to do something with these peacocks because they don't taste good. Actually, I think the official, the plural name is peafowl. Only the males are peacocks and the females are peahens and the babies are chickpeas or something, or garbanzo beans. I'm not sure. Anyway, they built that wall to keep the peacocks in. And every now and then you hear like a, ah! And then they hit a wall and everybody laughs, which is super fun. Now, we're gonna make our way over here to the Kafka Museum, where there is a very interesting statue which might answer my question. Where the hell is everybody peeing? There we go. Is graffiti allowed everywhere? Lo. Absolutely not. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. All right. Yeah, I just saw that question about stand-up shows in Prague. I haven't performed in Prague since last June. I think we did a show, which was awesome because it was like right after quarantine ended and we were allowed to, it was the first time we were able to use material about wearing masks and how people were dressing after quarantine because they've been dressing different, like weirdly by themselves at home for a very long time. Now I have to address what we're looking at now. These are not little boys. These are fully grown men. I've tried to make jokes about this and I've never been able to come up with anything that's funnier than what we're really looking at. These are two life-size men, and I believe they're broken right now because ordinarily their penises go back and forth and up and down because they're spelling letters, which spell words, which spell entire literary quotes from famous Czech writers like Kafka, Neruda, Kundera, and all your favorites. And Schmerpy and Sagovic. And they're doing this onto a map of the Czech Republic. Yeah? It's a very blatant metaphor. Nobody reads this piss but us. Yeah. But there's a couple of things I want to point out about these guys before we move on. Number one, this is not the original color. They're made of copper, so they've turned green like an old coin, except for the parts that greasy tourists won't stop touching. So the elbows, the forearms, and look at those shiny, spotless wangs. Oh, give it a shaky shake. I don't care who you are. It's impossible to resist. It's just a tractor beam of love. Oh shit, here we go. There's some people back here. I hope I didn't scare them off. Yeah, I get it. You walk into the middle of a courtyard, you see a guy like me shaking hands with the governor. That's cool. Anyway, what else? Oh, I would like to point out, this is just one more thing, and this is just my own personal thing. I don't know if you've ever seen a man pee before, but I'm pretty sure that that's not how you hold it, yeah? I don't know if you've ever been in the men's room before, but I think the standard move is you choke up on it like it's a baseball bat or a golf club, yeah? Shoulders out, eyes on the road, yeah? But this is my favorite thing, the hand on the hip and the pinky up. I mean, come on. That's how you know these guys are English. All right, moving right along. This is actually a former Café Cihelna. Cihelna means the brick factory. This used to be a famous brick factory, but now it is a very, very expensive restaurant. Now, moving right along with our lives, let's go see some more irreverent art in this neighborhood. While it's nice and quiet. Any questions for me? Anything here? Are those guys stalking me? Yeah, no. I know them. I think those guys, anybody who runs into me knows that I'm gonna be in a secret bar later on. even though bars are illegal and I would never go to one of those. People follow me. Anyway. Yeah, right? That's what it is. This is funny. This is the narrowest street in the city. It's closed right now because, it's called a street technically because it's got a traffic light. I don't know if you can make that out. See the traffic light in the top left corner? There you are. But this is the narrowest street. It leads down there. And frankly, if you ever are in Prague, don't go down that street because at the bottom of that street is a restaurant. And at that restaurant are some of the rudest waiters. They're like, why did you walk down our little street? I'm like, I saw it said that there was the narrowest street in the country and I wanted to check it out. And they're like, well, you're blocking our customers. What are you doing? And I'm like, it was in the guidebook and stuff. And they literally treat every single person who walks down that doesn't want to eat in their restaurant like a brand new problem. They act like every day they just start fresh. All right, now, there's some cops up there. Well, as far as they're concerned, this is just water. All right, let's see here. Charles Bridge. Oh, look at this guy. Oh, whoa, 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 with your big old motorcycle. Yeah, hung like a moose. That guy. He had a ponytail too. Oh man, that's awesome. Okay. I hope he lives in this neighborhood because there was a time when you would guide in this neighborhood and you would get yelled at by people out of their own windows for guiding a tour in the center of the city. But that guy's driving a motorcycle through here. It's kind of great. Maybe some of those older, angry people will leave. All right, so now this is exciting. Charles Bridge. Charles Bridge. Charles Bridge. 10 meters wide. 500 meters long. Hard as a rock. And it's made with over 1 million eggs. Now, one of the main questions people might have when they first see this bridge is why do the first 200 meters of this 500 meter bridge go over land? When the point of a bridge is to be able to walk from one side to the other of the river without a boat. Well, I'll explain. Back when they first built the bridge, back in 13 flirbity flirp. No, it doesn't go over the Danube. The Danube does not touch this country. The Danube goes around this country like it's afraid of it. For some reason, it touches, I think, 3 out of 4 of the countries that we border with this country. Yeah, because it does. It touches Germany, then it goes through Austria, then it touches Slovakia, and even, it separates Slovakia from Austria. And then it goes right through Budapest. But no, it doesn't touch this country. We have the Vltava. Vltava is from a Celtic word that means wild river. And it starts at a lake that's at the bottom of this country called Lipno. Anyway, getting back to this bridge going over this river. This was built back in 1350 something. And this part here that it goes over that's land was water when they first built it. But then, as I mentioned earlier, there was a fire in 1540 and everything burned to the ground. And they pushed all the ash and remnants into the river, effectively making this giant island where there's some cool ladies over there grilling some sausages. All right, moving right along with our lives. Now, a fun fact about the Charles Bridge being made of eggs. I did not believe it when I first heard it, but here we go. Let me see if I can flip it around here. I didn't believe it when I first heard it because it sounds like BS, doesn't it? That the bridge would be made out of eggs. When I first came here, I was very young. Oh, aloha from Hawaii. Mahalo, mugalakahiki. There you go. Anyway, so when I first came here, I was like 21, and there was this old man that lived in my building, and he used to come and knock on my door and be like, "Hey, my wife no let me smoke. Can I smoke in your flat?" And I was like, "Yeah," because it was winter, it was snowing, and he would sit there and chain smoke cigarettes, and he would tell me history stories, and if I made a graph of how interesting the stories were, there was a bit of a trajectory to it because his English would get better and he would remember, and I'd make him tea and he would get like the caffeine would wake him up. But after a few months, there was a drop-off on the graph because that's, history is finite, and he just kind of ran out of these amazing stories that were true. And I think he just started fucking lying to me. And I was making him an omelet, and he was like, eggs. The Charles Bridge is made of eggs. And I'm like, I really don't think it is, old man. And he goes, no, you gotta believe me, it's true. They put the eggs in there, and they mix it in. You ever spill some egg on the counter? You try to clean it up the next day? It's impossible. It's a natural cement. Don't look this up. And then I lost track of that old man because, let's face it, people die. Spoiler alert, right? And but I don't know what happened to him. And then a few years later, there was a flood, and it almost knocked over the bridge. And the statues had to be replaced. And while they were replacing the statues, these students that heard the same rumor that I had about the eggs dug these holes into the bridge and took core samples from the original build from 700 years ago. And they did tests, and they discovered that the mortar in the bridge is equal parts inorganic and organic materials, meaning that it is made with over 1 million eggs. And it was front page news. It was like, holy shit, our grandparents aren't crazy. And and I couldn't believe it when I read it. I mean, I'd already lost track of that old man, but I was like, wow, that's crazy. But then I saw him again in a bar, and he was still alive, and he was still drinking, and he was still smoking. And I just saw him, and he had 1 million different ways to greet me. He could have just been like, oh my God, yeah, you put some weight on, you grew a beard. He could have just messed with me any other way. I was like, have you met a girl? But he saw me, and he's just like, you're that kid. Did you read about the eggs? And then he died in my arms. Now, in a moment, we're going to be at the John Lennon Wall. It's named after John Lennon, the lead singer of the Monkees, as you know. And here we go. I'm finally in a place where I can actually see some of your comments. I had to go on a long monologue there because I couldn't. The lighting was killing me. I couldn't see him. Anyway, but yeah, John Lennon. Yeah, he was killed in 1980. And this country was communist from 1948 until 1989. So, as an homage to him, a young anonymous student came to this back alley and made, oh, by the way, this is the French embassy, second largest embassy in the country after the German one for historical reasons. And this is Café de Paris, very popular amongst, I see those uniforms. Is that Team Ajax? I believe it is Ajax. Yeah, there we go. Right there. So, these are garbage people. Anyway. Yeah, I know it's the Beatles, buddy. I was making a joke about the Monkees. All right, so. Oh, yeah, who's your favorite Beatle? Is it Mickey Dolenz? All right, so, anyway. It's pretty funny. Depending on who gets here first, that's the official vibe of this place. So sometimes there'll be some guy playing music, and then other times people will come up here and they'll treat it like this is Lennon's grave. But it's really kind of funny. So this is not the original, of course. So this is where it was painted originally in 1981, and the police came because this country was communist, at least for another 9 years after the first time it was painted on, and the secret police came, and the owners of this is the Knights of Malta, the Maltese embassy. And they said, all right, you got to paint over it. And they said, well, do we really have to? Because it's ours. And they said, no. So the Maltese, historically very cool people, they said, yeah, you can leave whatever you want on here. So then the secret police and the KGB, or the KG used to be, they had to come and paint over it themselves. So then the students came back, and they painted more stuff. And then the cops would paint over it. And then by the time the sun came up, it would be painted again. And there's usually some very, very hippy-dippy, forward-thinking thoughts that are written on here about love is all you need is love. Let's say there's a sign here, all you need is love and a face mask. Sometimes there's political stuff in there. They'll talk about climate change, or if there's like a Chinese leader that comes to this country, and people write free Tibet. But the idea is, for years and years, anybody was allowed to draw whatever they wanted on here. But recently, a more kind of fascist version of the Maltese embassy kind of took over. This guy, what is it called? The Lubkowitz just some old money, old guy came up with this new rule that says you're not allowed to spray paint or put posters. You can only draw with a pen or a chalk. Yeah, I would write something, but I'm not going to do anything with a pen. Yeah, and also this like fake ivy. This was a brilliant move. This is probably the smartest thing they did, putting this up here, because we used to come out here with spray cans and bring visitors out here so they could spray paint stuff and stencils and do really cool stuff. But we would try to remind them, you can't paint on this wall, and we'd try to make it funny. You can't paint on this. This is the Ringo Starr wall. Nobody paints on that. Or it's the Paul McCartney wall or George Harrison wall. But I think putting up fake ivy really kind of helped it. Perfect timing, actually. We just skipped this crew of young people. But I'll tell you what we're not going to miss is the this two-man biker gang. No, it's the acoustics of this hallway right here. Just I love the acoustics in here. I've never seen you looking so lovely like you did tonight. I've never seen you shine so bright. Never seen so many men ask you if you wanted to dance. Looking for a little... Oh, sorry. Didn't even get to the chorus. Lady in red. Now, here we go. This is... what is this guy's name? The vodnik, or the waterman, Wasserman. He's this like little magical guy that lives on the bottom of the river. And according to legend, he will come out and drag your kids to the bottom of the river if they misbehave. And I'm about 80% sure that it's not real. This is just kind of an amazing little, it's called Chertovka, it means the Devil's River. And it just goes right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where he lives. I don't know. And it's just kind of a beautiful thing that we have this much like kind of special, quiet, beautiful nature in the center of a major European city. It's, you know, that you can have the hustle and bustle of living in an over 1 million person town and then turn right around and have like a beautiful little river just like that one. Budete rovně? Jo. Abych jako na vás nekřičel. Yeah, I asked them if they were going straight. This is a lady in the rain with 2 kids on roller skates. I don't want to mess with them. Anyway, but I take any opportunity I can to walk down a cobblestone alleyway in this beautiful labyrinth of Prague. All right. Now, we are now on the island of Kampa. Now, as I said before, when they pushed all the remnants and ash after the fire of 1540 into the river, they effectively made this giant island, which was essentially a mausoleum, you know, because of all of the dead people and neighbors and stuff that were here. But as history has shown us, people forget shit. And eventually the Spanish army camped on it during the 30 Years' War. And now it's called Kampa, as exemplified on that hotel over there. Kampa, the Spanish army, campando en la isla. Entonces se llama Kampa, but with a K, because this is Czech Republic after all. And yeah. So, moving into a pedestrian area. And the last stop on our tour here is another installment of very strange art. Before we get there, I'll explain. As I pointed out in the beginning of this, there was a 216-meter tower on the edge of the city, built by the communists in the late 1980s to block out Radio-Free Europe. You'll see a lot of actual major... Berlin has a giant similar tower. The one in Prague, actually, which we'll be able to see very soon, kind of looks like a rocket ship. And ironically, it wasn't actually finished until after communism was over. But the damage was done. There's this giant communist space penis sticking out of the city in an otherwise beautifully protected medieval skyline. So the city wanted to kind of take the piss out of it, make fun of it. So this guy, David Czerny, the guy who made those pissing statues we saw earlier, made these giant bronze babies, each one the size of a truck, with their face stamped out with a barcode, and slowly dragged them closer to the center of the city and had them all converge, climbing over that tower. And there are 3 left over here in the city. in the park here for people to kind of pose with. Now, the challenge I usually give people when they see these is to take a picture with one of these babies and not have it be sexual in nature. But people just can't resist it. Now, as I was saying, here we are, almost there. Boom. There is that giant TV tower off in the distance. Here we go. All right, and now these guys here, these giant babies are here with their little stamped out barcode faces. David Cherney made these guys. See, this is supposed to be a metaphor for misinformation, yeah? Just looks like a rectangular puckered butthole to me. All right. Now, yes, these infernal devil babies are still on the island. Okay. Okay, here we go. Oh my goodness. All right, now, what I got here? You guys follow me? Okay, I want to point out one little last fun fact about the city before. Here we go. What we got here? This is, oh, look at those ladies. Oh, they're having a little ladies party underneath this chestnut tree. I can dig it. I guess that's where I'm going after this thing ends. Anyway, you see these little metal bits along the ground here? These run along the entire river for kilometers in either direction. And they are, oddly enough, part of an anti-flood plan. So what happens is the city comes in, unscrews these things, sticks these pipes in the ground, and then they leave these 3-meter aluminum slats on either side with these little notes like something you'd get at IKEA that tells you how to build your own waterproof wall. And they figure if you're on this side of the river, if you live near where water might be, you'll come out and build your own wall. And it actually works every single time. In the 20 years that I've been here, we've had 2 floods. And seeing these flood walls be built by concerned people with these really simple instructions is definitely one of the highlights for me. Anyway, I had a blast doing this. That time flew by super fast. I think maybe there might be one more thing I can show you guys before we sign off. Let me check out over here. All right. There is on this island, what's it called? It's a museum of contemporary art, but we won't be able to go inside. But just outside, they have some interesting installations. And I don't know, it is starting to rain, but I have seen lately more and more young people just kind of hanging out by the river. Again, it's like these hermit crabs, like kind of coming back to reclaim their old shells. It's, you know, as the tourists and the visitors of this city are not here, people that actually, it's weird, you'll see a bunch of tourists in the city, and then as you walk closer to them, you realize they're just Czech people from a smaller town. And so we do have tourists, but they're Czechs that would never ordinarily visit Prague because it's overrun with, you know, let's say Americans or Western Europeans, but as it stands right now. So yeah, this is the last shot I'm going to give you guys here. This is the locks. So this is the actual area. There's, yeah, the other half of the Charles Bridge. And then as we kind of come back, this is an island called Střelecký ostrov, or the Archer's Island. They used to have mock battles between that island and the Charles Bridge with bows and arrows, kind of train their guys. And then down here is this little monk statue, which was actually up to his neck, I believe, the last time we had a flood, which is kind of interesting. And these young ladies are going to do something to him, not realizing. Don't put a cigarette out on it. That better be. Hope that's not a cigarette. Oh, it's probably a joint. That's really. Or maybe it's. Anyway, what's that? They're having a conversation. They're talking to him. Oh no, they are. They're kind of like, it's like maybe they're burning sage. Yeah, there you go. Keep the evil spirits away from that guy. Yeah, some hippy dippy ladies. Right on, man. Anyway, let's flip this around. Let's see here. Anyway, I had an absolute hoot doing this. I can't wait to read all the comments as we went in through live, and hopefully we can do this again. I prefer doing tours this way, and it's just super fun. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. How do I get out of this? There we go. Bye. I love you, but I do feel the need to see other people.